It's week 13, and so begins season 2 of Dynasty. It's really exciting to get back into the groove of the show. Um, but, okay, let me clarify one thing because there might be some debate about this later on. I researched a lot for the original air dates because this particular episode and the season finale of this year had multiple different air dates listed online. For this one, it was agreed upon to be November 11th on every location except for one, and that ended up being the Region 1 DVD release, which listed it as airing a week previously. Now here's the tricky thing. IMDb lists it as November 11th. Wikipedia lists it as November 11th. But when you look up and see when the season premiere and start and end dates are, it lists it as November 10th. But for the individual episode, it lists it as November 11th. So this is problematic. So if you are of the camp, because I was not alive at this time, I wouldn't be able to remember when it originally aired, that say, no, it was definitely November 4th, I apologize. I have messed up, but I think it's forgivable. It's passable that there was so much conflicting information. So I felt a little bit bad about that. But, we got the introduction of Alexis this episode. How great was that? I've got to tell you, I thought this episode was phenomenal. I thought it was great. I had a really good time watching this episode. It had been several months since I had watched Dynasty last. And I mean, the wife who comes in, and it's her part of the testimony for this trial that is literally supposed to be the next minute when this episode begins, but this is months later when it really began. It's just, it's crazy. It's nuts to me. It fit in so well, so beautifully with the mode of the show. The other thing, there's so many things to talk about in this episode. Alexis is the major draw, and it's her introduction. She's not that mean. Not in this episode. You're not exactly sure what to believe. And that's the dilemma that Crystal is in. She's not sure whether to believe what Alexis said or what her husband Blake is saying, because they're saying two very contradictory things. But we do know this, that Alexis has something on Blake, this rain cloud over him, that she's ready to pinprick to the best of her advantage whenever she gets the chance. So I will make a prediction that will get revealed before the end of the season. I think it's going to be several episodes before that actually does get revealed, though. My prediction was wrong. At the end of the first season, there was this big car crash with Claudia and her daughter Lindsay, and Matthew goes and sees them. Now, apparently what happened behind the scenes, I don't know too much about this, but the guy who played Matthew and the girl who played Lindsay did not return for the second season of the show. And they didn't really fit the show, not where the show was going anyway. So it was a fine decision. I thought certainly that they were going to kill off Lindsay, though. And that they would deal with Matthew couldn't handle the grief of losing his daughter, and it was the only thing that really connected and made him bond with Claudia in the first place. But they didn't do that. Matthew and Lindsay just up and abandoned their mother, which, when you say it that way, it sounds so lame, but her performance in the realization that she's abandoned and she doesn't want to accept that, and eventually she gets to that point, her performance is so strong that it's passable. It's completely forgivable. It didn't go where I wanted it to go or what I thought would service the show best, but she was able to pull it off from the material that she was given. And it was interesting seeing Alexis completely accept her son Stephen as being gay. I thought that was really interesting. It was really surprising that the producers would choose to do that. And then Fallon is always going to be supportive of her father. Um, but Stephen doesn't want anything to do with Fallon really anymore, but he's kind of torn. It was a lot happened, but then a lot didn't happen. It's all set up still. But here's the big difference. This was entertaining setup. This wasn't boring. I think I had gotten to know the characters enough during the first season, and throwing in this mother character from the past who's come back, that really shook things up on the show. And so that was exciting. Here's the question. Is Alexis the best character? No. Not yet, at least. Claudia is the best character. She is so interesting. She's just nuts, but so many bad things happen to her. I think she's the most sympathetic character of the show. By far. By far. We had a new opening titles sequence as well. Not the theme, although the theme might be slightly different instrumentation, which I think I noticed, but I could be totally off on that, so don't derail me in the comments, please. But they added, I believe they added two people to the main titles this, 2 or 3 people to the main titles, including Alexis Joan Collins. She got her own title right away, which was interesting. And I think there's one of the caretakers of the Carrington Mansion ends up in the main titles. And you want to say well-deserved, but I can barely remember that character. So hopefully he'll make more of an impact, more of an impression as the show goes on. Am I looking forward to next week? Oh, yeah. I am super excited about season 2 for this show. It's a lot more fun already than what season 1 was. Do I regret having watched season 1 the way I did and waiting this long? No, I'm not sure I would have really struggled with season 1 no matter what, but making it in that sequential the way it originally aired helped me get through it. Season 2 is looking really high. It looks like it's going to be a blast, and I'm super excited. So please stick with me, and let's sit back and watch how Alexis ruffles some feathers at the Carrington Mansion.